Hi everyone, I'm back again, finishing off page 1 and going on to page 2. So, page 1, I put one of my little poinsettias in the corner. I did want to add more, but it would mean that I wouldn't have been able to put in anything else. I wouldn't have been able to have this tag in the front. This is just a card topper that I had, and I embossed on the back. So that was just to put, just something really to put in the front. And oh, underneath I did actually stamp and emboss, but not very well because there's something wrong with my embossing powder. Poinsettias, just to give it something underneath. Anyway, so I then put this piece of ribbon, lace and ribbon across here, and this ribbon is just threaded through the eyelets of the lace and put down each side. It's not quite tight enough, but it's not too bad. And then a couple of little photo mats. This one, once again, was another part of this topper here. It was a pyramid topper, so I used that as well. And these just slip in there. And then this was one picture that I cut in half to make 2 mats. Photo mats, same each side here. With the I laid it onto a little bit of gold paper first, and then the blue, and then finally another picture that I'd cut down. This was actually a much bigger picture, and I cut it down once again, layered it up with the gold paper and the blue card, the plain on the back, and then chose and the other half of one of the base pages, which I then fold in half. I am going to put on probably white card on the back because it is quite thin. So, and I just use a bit of stickles. It's champagne stickles, I do believe. Yep, champagne stickles to highlight the snowflakes and drop tips. So I made a bit of a mess, but it's okay. And then a little gold bow. So that was page 1. And that's basically done. Like I said, I did want to add a lot more to it, but didn't really have room. I will show you what I did. Finished off my embellishments. So I've got all the poinsettias and the poinsettia leaves. I die cut these little fir cones in copper and gold with the leaves, and this is a Britannia die. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. So Britannia die, the large pine cone, 109, and see, £6.50. So it's not very inexpensive. It's not exactly cheap, but they do cut beautifully, and it was just what I wanted. I wanted the pine cone and just a little bit of the fir pine needles, and that was the perfect size for me. I used the Sweet Dixie die to cut out these holly leaves, and used 3 and 4mm flat back pearls for the berries, and used, I think it was a Whisper pen, and this has been gone over with the Mod Podge hard coat. So that was that done, and I inked it up with the bundled sage. Okay, for the, this is also the part of the festive foliage Sweet Dixie dies. This is the mistletoe, and for this one, I once again, same as these, I cut it out. I cut it out from white paper, white cardstock, 140 GSM cardstock. Inked the edges with the bundled sage, then went round again slightly with weathered wood. Then put some hard coat Mod Podge over the top. Added some liquid pearls which is the Dovecraft 3D Pearl Effects in yellow, because I didn't want it white. It was either going to be yellow or green, and I chose the yellow so it would stand out. Waited for that to dry, went over it with matte Mod Podge and just sprinkled a bit of glitter on, and then left that to dry. And this Mod Podge was pounced on with a brush rather than brushed on like these. These were brushed on to make them more smoother, and this was actually pounced on. And you see it's given a lovely frosted effect. So that's all my embellishments, and this, I wanted the fir pine needles and the mistletoe on my first page, but unfortunately couldn't really fit them on. As you can see, lots of embellishments now to use. Okay, so on to page 2. I'm using this design of paper, and I've cut it down, obviously cut it in half, and I've cut an extra bit off the side, an extra bit off the top, and this is the design paper that I'll be using. So first of all, I need my base page, which is here. Now for page 1 I have the plain base page, so for page 2, which is obviously going on the back of page 1, I'm going to need one with the 2 flats so that it will stick together. So page 1, and this is just the base page, which is 5 7/8 and 8 1/4 plus the flaps. Okay, to go on my base page, the first thing I'm going to need is this piece, which is 9 3/4 by 5 7/8, and on the 9 3/4 inch side I've scored it at 3/4 and 9. So I have this. Now I'm not going to stick this down yet because I have done my decorative edge already. So I want to put a piece of paper on the back of that, because obviously I'm going to use it as a pocket, so I don't want anything getting caught on the fancy edge underneath. So that's the first piece you'll need. Quickly followed by right, this piece, which is it is 7 3/4 by 5 7/8, but that is including my decorative edge here. So it's only 6 without the decorative, but you do need the decorative edge because this is where I have my magnet, so you do need it to be at least 7 inches long. And mine is 7 3/4, and on that 7 3/4 inch side I have scored it at 1/4 inch and 3/4 inch. So 1/4 inch and 3/4 inch. So I've given myself a nice 1/4 inch gusset there. When I cut this bit out, I had a bit of leftovers, and here it is. And this piece is 3 5/8 by 5 7/8, and on the 3 5/8 side I've scored it at 3/8 of an inch and 1/2 inch. So that gives me a small 1/8 of an inch gusset on here. Next piece, this was once again a leftover piece. I had it actually in my stash, and I've already put it together because once again I've put an extra piece of card on the back so it's smoother to put things in and out. But this piece, if you're not going to have a decorative edge here, you don't have to have that extra piece. So this piece is 6 7/8 by 3 1/8, and on the 6 7/8 of an inch side I've scored it at 1/2 inch and 6 3/8 of an inch. So I've got 5 7/8 with my 1/2 inch flap each side. Now then, what you're going to want to do is, let's go back to the base page again. This first large pocket, side pocket that we've made, which way around do I want this? Yes, I want it this way around. This is good. No, I want it this way round. want it this way around. I want it opening out this way. Yeah, I'm going to have it opening out this way. Okay, you want to get your decorative paper that you're having on the top and get that out ready, because we're going to work on this bit before we need to stick it down. So the other thing you're going to need for this is I'm going to make this into a waterfall, and my waterfall is 5 pieces at 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and on the 5 5/8 side I've scored it at 1/2 inch. Now I have 5 of those. So, and I've done it so I'm going to have roughly 1 inch each side. Okay. Now there is a reason why I've specifically done my mats this size, and it's because of this picture. What I've done is I've printed off this picture 5 times, and it's 7 inches long by 3 7/8 across, or 3 3/4 across. So, and I know it's 7 inches long, and what I've done is I've measured down 5 inches and cut it across. Now on the next one, I cut 1/2 inch off the bottom, turned it round, measured 5 inches, cut off the top. And I did that to each one. So on the next one, I cut off 1 inch from the bottom, and then cut the rest off from the top to make it 5 inches. On the next one, I cut, I've got to get this right, yeah, so each time I took an extra 1/2 inch off the bottom. So this is my first one, and as you can see, this one lines up with the top of this one. This one has 1/2 inch off the top, okay, this one is another 1/2 inch from the top, this one is another 1/2 inch from the top, and then finally this one, which is another 1/2 inch shorter. So this one I just took the 2 inches off the top. This one I took 1.5 inches off the top and 1/2 inch off the bottom. This one 1 inch off the top and 1 inch off the bottom. This one 1/2 inch off the top and 1.5 inches off the bottom, and this one 2 inches off the bottom. So when these are laid out in my waterfall, you'll see the whole picture, basically. Oh gosh, I do hope I explained that okay. Right, so next thing I had to do was decide, now I know I've got about 1/8 of an inch, so I added another 1/4 of an inch. I had to figure out where the middle was, and then add 1/8 of an inch to the top, roughly. So what I've done, here's the reverse side. So I've measured across, roughly 1 inch in from each side. Figured out how far down I wanted this to start. Put sellotape across the top here. I don't know if you can see that. There's strips of sellotape there, and that's just to strengthen it and stop the paper from tearing, although this is a good quality card, so it shouldn't tear. And then I've cut through the card on that first score line, then 1/2 inch down, done another one, 1/2 inch down another one, and again 1/2 inch down, and again 1/2 inch down, and gone slightly over my edges because I know that this is the width here. I'm going to have an extra 1/8 of an inch each side. So I have now 5 holes in my card and sellotape. And I've taken the sellotape again and just run an extra bit of sellotape vertically on each side, just to stop it tearing out any further. So next you'll need your waterfall cards. You're going to need 5 of these. And what we're going to do is you start from the bottom. Don't start from the top, start from the bottom, because it makes it a lot easier. And all you're going to do is you're going to slip in the cards and then just fold it over at the back. And to slip it in. You're not going to, it would help if the adhesive was on first. So yeah, I'm not going to stick anything down. What I'm going to do is going to line them all up first, and then I'll stick them down. And as you can see, these are just, each fold line, each tab here is just under ½ inch, so that it's not going to interfere with the opening under each one. So if you like to use stencil tape or something like that to keep these in place, you can do. And make sure that when you fold it down, the crease that you've just put through is on the front of your paper. You don't want that crease on the reverse side. You want the crease, that score line, to be just sitting on this side of the paper, and you can just see it there. Do that for all 5. Of course, you could just have it as a normal waterfall and you start off the first one with the fold down, and then all the other ones you put the fold upwards so it butts up against it, so that way you, when you have the last one, you don't have the piece of card sticking at the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do now is line all this up nice and neatly. And then when it's all neat, in order, and exactly how you want it, once again, you just start with one at a time. Start with the bottom one and glue it down. So put those others up out the way first. Start with the bottom one. Make sure it's centered how you want it. And then double-sided sticky tape or glue. I'm using double-sided sticky tape because it has the sellotape here, which gives it a shiny surface to stick to, so double-sided sticky tape would be better. So I'm going to use just this one for the moment, and what I'm going to do first, because I have done it this way around and I should have done it this way around, I'm going to stick my double-sided sticky tape down quickly. Being careful not to go over the score line. Of course, you're supposed to do this before you put them through the slits you made in the card. Okay. So, back we go again. Line it up, make sure it's exactly where you want it to be. Turn it over. And stick it down. Double check it, make sure it's okay, and then on to the next one. So here's where, if you wanted to use stencil tape here to make sure they were together, you can use that there, or washi tape. you go through and you do that with each one, making sure it's all straight and lined up nicely. And you continue to do this for all 5 pieces. Now, there may be an easier way of doing it. I'm sure if you watched other people, you may find someone who does it in a much easier way. This is the way I do it. Because this is the way I do find easiest. Well, I don't find it easiest, it's the way that I find I get the best straight results. Because we all know how terrible I am anything that has a straight line to it. So I'll get that last one done, and then when that's down, I'm going to get some double-sided sticky tape and stick it down completely over here, right through this centre panel, to make sure this is all stuck down. Obviously I'll take a foam folder and give it a really good varnish, and then put double-sided sticky tape over it. So when I've done that, put my last one in, I'll come back and show you how I'm doing. Okay, it's all stuck down, and I've got my double-sided tape across the back to cover up all of that. I'm going to just go over it again quickly. Move my bone folder. There we go. Okay, so you've been needing that soon, but for now, put that to one side. The next thing you're going to need is the longer piece with your 1/2 inch gusset, and I am going to put this tape on to my hinge bit here. Okay, so you only want it up to that first score line. You don't want to go over or in between the 2 score lines. Just miter this up to that first score line. Okay, so when you have it upwards towards you, you want to make sure that you can see that second score line, because you don't want to stick that down, you want to just stick that from that top score line. Okay, probably teaching my grandmother to suck eggs again, but always better be safe than sorry. So I'm going to put on a little bit of glue here, and then this is going at the top of my page. I can see what I'm doing when I can't. Okay. So now you've got that nice 1/4 inch gusset just there. Okay, next you want just the plain flap, and I'm going to need thinner tape for this. And once again, you only put it up to that first score line, don't put it any further than that. Miter those edges up to that first score line, so you're not cutting into the gusset at all. And this is the pocket that I'm working on here. I'm not working on the base page, I'm working on the pocket. Take off my tape backing, add my glue. and then place this at the bottom of my page. Or at least I would do if I wasn't. Oh, if I didn't keep pulling it off by accident. Okay, I want that down a bit. Okay. Now, I am having a magnet here. Okay, this piece is going to go on the back of here. Now, I think I'm going to have this pocket this way, so I'm going to seal that at the bottom. So when it closes, you can't put anything in the top. The opening will be here. I think that's the way round I want it done. I'm going to have it that way round. But then when you opened it, everything would fall out of the pocket. But then you'd have all that extra space. No, I'm going to have it that way round. I'm going to have the pocket so that the opening can be seen when it's closed. So, what I want to do is grab all my bits here and pop them inside there, because that's going to give me some idea of how much space it's going to take up. And the reason you've got that extra space at the top really is just so that you can put your photographs in it and it's not going to unstick. Okay, I need a sticky glue dot. I've finally got my glue dots. I like to buy them in this way rather than in the strip on a roll, because the strip on a roll I always make a mess with everything. Okay, I'll stick my glue dot onto the back of my magnet there. I have my magnet already, and I have magnet written here. Okay, and I know that's going to go roughly there. Line it up, press it down. That's my magnet all done. Now, my next job is, because I have this decorative edge, my next job is to put this down before I stick this down to my base page, because I'm going to need to cover up this back bit here. So that's my next job. Yep. Let's get off my tape back in here. Okay, get off my tape back in here. So that is just that extra bit of strength and extra bit of hold for the folds on the back of the waterfall, the hinges there. Okay. I have to line this up. And then find the piece of paper I had for the back. Yeah, it was that bit. It was just a bit that I'd used to colour in my edges, so this is not going to show, so this is okay. And this is going over the back here. So then that'll be nice and smooth when I want to put anything in and out of my pocket. Right, so the next thing I have to do is get this stuck onto my base page. So this is going to be the front of my pocket, this is the bottom. So I want a nice long piece along the bottom here, so that I can use it as a pocket and nothing will fall out of my bottom. And then I want double-sided sticky tape for each of the sides here. Cool down, not very good at doing anything straight today. Okay. Right, and then this goes onto the base page. Let's get this tape backing off. Put some glue on. Okay, and we're going to line this up. First of all to the top. There we go. Right, and then the last thing we're going to do is put this little pocket on here. And that's just a matter of a little bit of double-sided sticky tape. I suppose I could still have it that way up and have it opening at the top. But it would look better that way round, with that bit at the bottom. So right, just thinking to myself here, thinking aloud. Okay, a little bit at the bottom. A little bit of glue. And then line it up and stick it down. So there is page 2. Okay, so lots of space here and here, little tiny pocket here, more space, nice waterfall, and then pocket at the side here. Okay, so I will decorate this. I will be using, like I said before, the the blue tits and the milk bottle here and here, so that will just carry on. And this is paper that I just printed out. Oh dear, I've got some more sheets of it here somewhere. I quite like this one because it faded to white at the top, so I didn't lose too much of it. And I've just been cutting out sections of it, and that's just the backing paper that I should be using for the rest of the waterfall, probably the mats inside, though I do have some pretty pictures. So I'm going to put this on, and then I'll do my mats, do my waterfall, and then I'll be back to show you how it looks all done. All done. Okay, so we have the page here, opens up, top, and then the bottom, and I've made a tag. This I kept this picture actually as a reference to where everything went, just in case I needed it. I thought it would make a really nice tag for in here that you could just match up over the top. So there we go. So another little pocket and tag there. And for now, I've just put in 2 smaller photo mats into my side pocket there, and they're also plain on the back. So there. I really love the way the waterfall came out as a full picture. I think it's done really lovely. I think it looks absolutely sweet. I haven't done the back of them. I don't know if I'm going to. I might leave them white on the back. So for now, they're going to remain white. So, page 1 complete, page 2 complete, on to page 3, which hopefully I will be able to get done pretty soon and get that uploaded. Trouble is I have no ideas. But there we go, page 2. I hope you enjoyed.